We're seeing tough times on the farm, but the future looks bright. This week on Grow, which egg sectors could be hit hardest by tariffs? And how Nebraska is growing its economy through livestock. We'll let you know just how many counties are livestock friendly. And our county fair adventures continue from Nuckolls County. It's time to grow. It's a war many Nebraska farmers didn't ask for, a trade war. And what does it mean for Nebraska agriculture? It's our top story as NTV's Alex Whitney has more from a national organization fighting for free trade.
Farmers for Free Trade Executive Director Brian Keel was in Kearney Wednesday speaking at the Nebraska Farm Bureau's Agricultural Economic and Technology Summit on an issue affecting nearly every Nebraska farmer. Open trade.
You know, trade isn't just a light switch that you throw on and off and you say, hey, we're gonna cut off trade for a couple months and then we'll just get back into it. No.
Keel and his organization, Farmers for Free Trade, are touring the country advocating for more open trade in the agriculture sector and a stop to the trade war implemented by the Trump administration.
Farmers are being hit twice. You're getting hit because export markets are being closed through tariffs and retaliation from other countries. And you're being hit because the steel and aluminum tariffs are driving up input costs. So farm equipment's getting more expensive, grain bins are getting more expensive. So farmers already facing low commodity prices and tight margins are getting squeezed even further.
While tariffs are making it difficult for farmers across the board, some agricultural products are faring worse than others. Senior economist Jay Rempe from the Nebraska Farm Bureau is worried that continued tariffs could be devastating for the soybean and cattle producers in Nebraska.
Well, there's two sectors that jump to mind immediately. One is the soybean sector because about 50% of the soybeans that we produce in this country are exported. Another area that Nebraska is a big beef exporter. So far there have been some tariffs on beef, but we haven't seen the major impacts yet. But that's another sector that we're watching closely.
Both Keel and Rempe advocated a step back from the tariffs being introduced by the Trump administration, stating that the inevitable retaliation from our trade partners will cause negative long-term consequences for agricultural trade in the United States that could take years to fix. Back to you.
And here's what Governor Pete Ricketts has to say about trade.
We encourage the administration to try and get all this wrapped up as quickly as possible. You know, for example, right now the tariffs on agricultural products, you know, really haven't impacted us tremendously from the standpoint of we aren't in harvest. But we have seen soybean prices, for example, you know, slump by a couple bucks and corn prices are down. And that's all very concerning, and that will become more pressing as we get into harvest here later this fall.
And when it comes to these tariffs, it looks like many farmers have mixed feelings. In our question of the week, we asked, how confident are you that President Trump's trade strategy will result in better opportunities for farmers and ranchers? The results are there on your screen and show a lot of mixed feelings on the subject. All of this at a time when we are seeing a sluggish farm economy, but many farmers do seem optimistic that the worst may be behind us. Farm income is about half what it was just 5 or 6 years ago. Many farmers will lose money this year. Some will sell the farm or take a job in town. Still, some are hanging in there.
The bulk of the producers are holding their own. There are some that are struggling. There's some that are challenged. There's some are deciding that, you know, today I'm going to get out of active production. I'm going to switch over to a landlord, and I'm going to rent my farm out and retire.
A Purdue University economist who used to work for the Federal Reserve says farmers are showing signs of economic life. Equipment sales are up, and surveys show an uptick in optimism, with a feeling we've bottomed out and there's nowhere to go but up. Now we want to know what you think. Our poll question this week, how optimistic are you that we have seen the worst of this farm downturn? Log on to Twitter to cast your votes. This is also the time of year when sweet corn stands pop up. NTV's Lauren Coomer has more on the marketing opportunities it brings some farmers.
1733 Produce says they're going on their 3rd year of selling fruits and vegetables in Kearney, and they say their operation gets bigger every year.
Tailgates full of sweet corn, attracting customers who want their fresh produce.
We came to support local growers. They happen to have a chemical-free stuff here, and it's a real good bag. I'm ready to go home and go cook it.
Local farmer Jim Bamford saying it was his son's idea to start selling at a stand.
We've always been in the farming business, and my wife battled cancer, and that's my son's goal, is try to get people to eat healthy and try to get some of the chemicals out of our climate. Big, small.
Bamford saying this is just another way to make money as a farmer.
Just in the corn right now, there's not much money there, so that's why my son is getting into this, trying to stay active in the farming.
It's just a wonderful thing that they do. You know, they spend their hard time growing this stuff, and you can see like the care that they gives us the great produce. And I like to support them for doing that. It's a wonderful thing.
Ag economists saying farming is headed this way, and farmers need to focus less on commodity and look at the value in other places.
It's a different entrepreneurial perspective, but it also means different marketing and a different skill set for that producer. It's not just growing crops and thinking about, oh, how do I sell it? Well, that's just taking it to the grain elevator or following the Board of Trade. But this is building relationships.
And building relationships is just what 1733 Produce is doing.
It's 1,733 miles to each coast. So we're right here in the center of the United States, and just trying to make a living at farming and trying to get the world a little healthier on what they eat.
They say they'll be selling their produce for the rest of the summer, and into early fall they'll start selling pumpkins as well. Lauren Coomer, NTV News, Kearney.
Now to crop conditions where things continue to rate well. The latest USDA report shows 65% of corn is silking, well ahead of 38% on average. 86% of corn rates good to excellent. Soybean numbers look similar. Nebraska Extension's Crop Watch reports the season started with above normal temperatures. Too early to visualize clear trends, though there is relatively high probability of near average yields and even above average yields for sites in western Nebraska. According to his obituary, Clayton Herget died doing what he loved, checking cattle. We interviewed the Hebron native last November about a farming program called AgriAbility. He left us with a message to never give up.
There are other people in your shoes that are out there. If you want it bad enough and you want to fight for it bad enough, there's usually always a way to figure something out one way or another.
We're sad to report Clayton passed away in a UTV accident. He was 37.